2. The Embassy of the Czech Republic in Berlin. Subject: We're returning to Czech Republic. Hello, my husband and I will return to Czech Republic on May 12, 2020, through the border crossing of Rozvadov Weidhaus. Our permanent resident identification numbers and contact information is listed below. If you need any more information, please let us know. Thank you very much. You know what that means? We're coming back to Prague.
Dobrý den. You will fulfill the reporting obligation by filling in and sending this online form. Regards, Czech Consulate, Berlin.
Ugh, there's always a freaking form. It wouldn't be Czech Republic without a friggin' form.
Buddy, do you want to go to Prague?
For those of you who are new to my channel, I'm an American who lives in Prague, Czech Republic, but for the last several months, I've been stuck in Germany. It's a bit of a long story, but today, I'm happy to say that we're finally headed back to Czech Republic. So it's our last day, and we are packing up the apartment. Ended up staying here a lot longer than we thought we were going to, so there's a lot more mess.
Buddy, are you ready to go? Are you ready to go to Prague?
It was a good place for us. It gave us a good home during this time, but I cannot wait to be home. So the short version of the long story is my husband was doing a few months of work in Germany. I'd been going back and forth between Germany and Czech Republic, and then, well, you know what happened. Just like millions of other people, we had to hunker down wherever we were and just wait, indefinitely. As soon as we got stuck, I made a video about what it's like to be a foreigner during a crisis. And so many Czechs reached out to give me advice, numbers to call, websites for more information, and personal offers to help. What a great community you guys are. Other viewers said they could relate. They too were stuck in other countries. I realized I was pretty grateful to be in a small town with nowhere to go and nothing to see, even if I did miss Prague. I don't understand how I only brought 3 shirts to wear, and yet we still ended up with so much crap. So now we're driving towards the border of Germany and Czech Republic. It's kind of weird to have the borders closed. Part of the great thing about Europe is being able to cross borders freely thanks to the Schengen zone. Oh, if you're American, you probably don't know what that is. It's roughly the EU countries, not exactly, but it means that you can move between the countries and you don't have to check in at borders. You don't have to stop and get your passport stamped. And so whenever we drive back and forth between Slovakia and Czech Republic and Germany and Austria, you don't have to stop at borders. So it's a little nerve-wracking. We have permanent residency, and so the law allows us to return even during a pandemic, but it's a little nerve-wracking to get stopped. I don't know why I'm worried. I guess when you spend 8 years in Czech Republic being a good law-abiding immigrant, and then you just show up out of the blue during a pandemic, you're not quite sure how welcoming the Czechs will be. Perhaps I was thinking this way because there's a lunatic running my own country, trying to keep even legal immigrants out. So I'm a little nervous about that interaction, and then the minute we get into Czech Republic, we have to be on a mandated 14-day quarantine unless we could show that we weren't positive for the virus, but we have no way to access that test. So it sounds like we're going to be in quarantine, but we'll be at home, so it'll be fine. One thing that happened while we were in Germany was this channel kind of blew up, and I started to notice a lot of the same viewers in the comment section. It's a great feeling when people appreciate the work you create. So welcome, and thank you so much for the encouragement. The biggest challenge was making videos about Prague and Czech culture when I wasn't even there. How was I going to show American men how to properly administer an Easter whipping? So we celebrated a DIY Czech Easter in our German apartment. We baked a baranek, and my husband braided a very nice pomlaska. We tried our best to get rid of the evil spirits of winter by burning a coronavirus switch on a grill for Paleni Čarodějnic. It wasn't the same as celebrating with Czechs, but it did make us feel a little more like we were at home. We're getting close to the border. We're about a few kilometers away. Not many cars on the road, that's for sure. Like I mentioned, we usually whiz right through the border because there's no passport check. But this time, the whole highway was closed. We followed the detour to the side, and we saw some police, so we started to get serious. We turned off the radio, put on our masks, and Hansa told me to put the camera away so we didn't get deported. So we just made it through the border, and it was very nice, and the police officer spoke very nice English, even though we spoke some Czech to him. And he told us that we have to contact our physician, and then we have to quarantine for 14 days. But other than that, it was pretty easy, and it's 15:26, and we got there at 15:12, so 14 minutes of a line. Not bad. Very impressed with the efficiency. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that was great. It was a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah. Pleased. Happy to be home.
We're home.
We're home. So excited. And I could tell we were back in Czech Republic because of the giant MATTONI eagles. Quick background on these lovely works of art. In 2017, the government voted to get rid of advertising billboards on Czech highways, and hundreds of billboards were mercifully taken off the beautiful landscape. The water company, MATTONI, which is based in Karlovy Vary, decided to circumvent the law, and they hired some artists to transform their 16 eagle billboards into works of art. And this eagle was created by the world-famous Czech artist Mila Furstová, who says it expresses her feelings when she returns home to the Czech Republic. We know how she feels. The good news is, Czech Republic has been really successful, possibly the most successful in Europe, at flattening the curve. And because their efforts paid off, they're now following a roadmap for easing restrictive measures. So as of May 11th, Czechs can go to hair salons, manicure and pedicure salons, museums, language schools, gyms, libraries, zoos, and weddings if there are less than 100 people there. I mentioned in this video all the places I dreamt about returning to when all of this was over. But just to add a few, Naplavka Farmers Market, Rigrok Beer Garden, Lia Beer Cafe, Czech Courses Language School, Sweet and Pepper Days for lunch, Petřín for a walk with Tobik, the Potravini at the castle for my favorite cheap cappuccino, the empty Charles Bridge before all the tourists return, and finally, getting together to see some of my online friends in person. As far as quarantine goes, being stuck in our own apartment is a vast improvement for us. 14 days doesn't seem that long, and at least we have a deadline. The hardest part about being in Germany was not knowing when we could return. In the meantime, we're happy being homebodies. My new best friend is the Rolik delivery guy. Did I say the Rolik delivery guy? I meant the Lia Beer Cafe delivery girl. We only leave the house if Tobik needs a walk, and then only in the off hours, always wearing a mask, and of course, keeping our distance. Hansa is working on taming the jungle that seems to have grown in our apartment since we left. I am, as always, cooking up a storm. I'm also getting my office in order because I'm making big plans for Dream Prague this summer. But I want to hear from you in the comments below. Are you a foreign tourist? A Czech who lives abroad? A dude in Ostrava who's watching to learn English? And what do you want to see more of on this channel? I'd love to know.
If you're here in Prague, I'll see you out in the parks and the beer gardens in a few weeks. I can't wait. Uvidíme se příští týden. Ahoj!